one of the things that happens in onboarding is the explanation of how day one is going to go. And when we get that right, I feel like we have a way better chance of actually having them show up on day one. Whereas if it's just a quick text of like, here's where you show up and here's who you talk to, I don't know that we set a very like warm, cuddly feeling. And I'm gonna get to our existing example with this is we have a location where that text would be, hey, welcome to the team. You're going to show up Monday at this storage location in this part of town, and somebody named Nikki is going to meet you there. And would you believe that not a lot of people showed up to that because they probably like Google searched this part of town where this storage unit was in that has the supplies, and they're like, oh, hell no, I just got duped. I'm about to get murdered or robbed or whatever the case is. And so like that communication caused us to just lose a lot of people that otherwise may have been great employees. We changed that process, and I'll talk a little bit about that in day one and the impact that had literally within days is hilariously embarrassing, but this is business and that's how you learn, right? You just make mistakes all over the place and have fun with it. But that onboarding process and getting them to feel comfortable about showing up on day one is so big. I think we lose a lot of people in that onboarding process. And I don't know if it always happens during that onboarding process, but there's so many people that we offer a job to and they say, yeah. And then day one comes and they don't show up. So something happens in the onboarding time period where maybe they didn't plan on ever showing up and they were just hedging their bet. And we actually lost them in one of the other impressions. We just didn't make a strong enough impression, but they kind of like held out with us as like the number 4 opportunity they had. They just weren't telling us, right? But I think we also lose some people in that process where they're like, oh, I'm just a freaking another employee, right? They were razzle dazzling me, and then they just sent me this super cold, pre-scripted text of like, we'll see you Monday. Here's where you show up. Don't be late. So I like, there's an impression to be made there. I don't know that it's the end all be all of impressions, but I know it's impressionable enough that we've lost many applicant / candidate / employee right in that little wedge of onboarding.
Yeah. I you could probably put together a 60-second video from the owner that says, hey, welcome aboard, looking forward, and here's what you can expect on day one. There's just so many easy ways to go about doing it. We don't do it. And I think it's because the mindset is it's not the biggest sale of our life. That's what it always comes back to for me. If you looked at it like $200,000 being deposited into your bank account, and you really pictured that, I think you'd probably change the way you're doing some things. It's a simple fix. It doesn't cost a dime to fix that. I shouldn't say it's a simple fix. You'll still have the issues, but that's not a bad thing to do, is just explain what the hell's going on.
Really. And just like you said, just a message that says, hey, welcome to the team. And we're excited to have you starting with us, because the other 5 job offers that they got the same day that you gave them one, chances are somebody made a better impression than you did.
Yeah.
Right? Like, make a damn good impression. All right. So that's number 4. That's the onboarding process. Now we hired them and they show up on the first day. And maybe we didn't even interview them in person, right? Like this, especially in these days, this can be really goofy because this might be the first time they've ever been to our location. For some of us, that might be our house. For some of us, that might be a shop, whatever the case is. But I think this is the interview might be the biggest one. I don't know, but this is right up there with a massive opportunity for an impression is day one. Most of the employees we lose are in the first few days, the first week of training. Some it's because we didn't set a good expectation and we probably shouldn't have hired them. A lot of them just like don't show up again. And we're baffled, right? And it's because we set this impression upon them. And maybe they took our job, but again, they accepted like 4 other jobs. And so maybe somebody else made a better impression. And this takes me back to our location where we were sending people to a storage unit. And that might not have been the best first day impression. The one story that I really go back to with this one was in our St. Louis home cleaning location where the gal showed up for her first day, she shows up. There's people standing outside grumbling, smoking cigarettes right in front of the door, blowing smoke in her face, and she doesn't know which door, and they just point like she's a gorilla. Then she walks in, and half the people don't even realize she comes in. The other half just stare at her like she's got, mud on her face or something. The manager comes in, rushes her through. Here's this. All right, now go with that lady that gave you that mean look when you walked in, and enjoy your first day of training, right? And I don't think they stuck with us. But that day one impression, and here's so that's a true example. Like that actually happened in one of our offices, and Shawn was there to witness it. I told the speed story because we're running a little low on time, but had we been focused on making a good impression that day, we could have had somebody go out and greet that new employee at their car or outside the door. We could have had some sort of policy to not have people smoking right in front of the damn doorway. We probably could have had some like core value based on positivity, so that when somebody walked in, they didn't just hear a bunch of bitching and moaning about the day's jobs and what this negative vibe when they walk into the office. Somebody could have offered them something to eat and drink. Imagine that, hey, welcome to the team. Let us serve you a little bit. We maybe could have introduced them to all their coworkers who could have had a smile on their face and then exuded some of that positivity. Maybe we could have not rushed them into like building tour and then kicked them out the door with the person that gave them the nastiest look when they showed up. And maybe they would have liked to actually work for us.